It's time for NugLife Radio, a higher level of education for the cannabis counterculture community, featuring Medi Mike with the cannabis correspondent in Beijing. Like us on Facebook.com/NugLife Radio Show, Twitter @TheRealNugLife, and Instagram NugLife Radio. I'm your announcer, Recreational Riley. Here's Medi Mike.
Everybody, welcome to the NugLife Radio Show, a higher level of education for the cannabis counterculture community. Holy crud. We're just a mess, huh? All right. Not creepy at all. Goddamn. NugLife Radio Show, again, a higher level of education for the cannabis counterculture community. We are your hosts, Medicinal Mike and Benji Cooper. Master of all. I've got all my buttons are all messed, so we'll have fun fixing that. And I have headphones. I'm going to put those on because we're just having that day. It's like he got us started on time. Oh, it'll suck. Hey, Coop, how you doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good. Just wanted to make sure I could hear you. And we do have a great show lined up. If it's your first time tuning in, we are Cannabis Education with all the fun. He played the Undertaker, like the young Undertaker. So we're going to have him next week. Don't forget that Champs Trade Show is happening in Las Vegas from the 8th through the 12th. I will be out there for 2 of those days. You doing any champsing, Coop?
I am not. Not as far as I know, anyways.
What, you might get, like, whiffed away?
Here in California and doing boring news stuff, right?
Oh, well, that sounds like fun. Boring stuff. Today is going to be a great show. We've got guests live in the studio. We have Mr. Devlin Francis from Jetty Extracts. He is a rosin technician. Didn't even know that was a career path. And we have Mr. David Goldman and Mr. Michael Cohen from the Brownie Mary Democratic Club. So we're going to get to ask them all kinds of cool questions. Even the camera, everything is just a little sideways today. But it's a podcast. So.
I think as legalization progresses, you're going to start seeing a whole job titles that you've never heard before involving cannabis.
Yeah, rosin technician was just like with a straight face. I was like, that's a fantastic career. It sounds like there's a college somewhere where they are pressing cannabis to the finest of quality.
Certificate.
And I'll tell you, if they are Jetty X back in the day, so I feel like we owe them a lot of appreciation for a lot of the work they've done.
And they make really good sushi too.
Did they? Oh, that's right. They used to do the medicated sushi, right? And they had the whole cutting board and everything there.
I think they still do.
So Vegas, everybody knows Champs is amazing, but the reason everybody goes is for the after parties. And that's why I go, specifically.
Yeah, those are pretty fun.
Yeah. The one year somebody slipped me acid. Like, I was at some mansion party. Oh, I don't even want to say who it was. Not because I can't remember, but to protect the innocent. And at this mansion party, it was the weirdest scenario, because sitting next to me was this bald-headed dude with no shirt on, talking with a Jamaican accent. And it was a cowboy, like a dude wearing full cowboy garb. He had a hat, he had a shiny shirt, Looked like Michael J. Fox when he dressed as a cowboy, like it was a shiny cowboy. And
you were seeing this before you took the app.
These were just the people there, and then the stoner magician was there, so he's doing magic tricks, making stuff disappear, and he's doing magic tricks, making stuff disappear, and all of a sudden I just take a drink of this soda, and everything just kicks right in. While all this is going on, because the magician guy is taking a joint and he just keeps making it disappear. Stoner magician. You could look him up on Instagram. He's really cool, and he's the joint's disappearing. It's going under his foot. It's popping out of his pocket, and it just gets real trippy. And the dude who's talking from Jamaica, and I'm like, "Are you from Jamaica?" And he's like, "No, Ohio." Hey, well, there's some appropriation or whatever the word is for that. And, that was just an amazing thing. An amazing thing.
He sounds like the only stoner that can make a joint reappear after it disappears.
And that's exactly what he was doing. Yeah, I've gotten the honor to do a few shows with him. And
I'm saying, like, once a stoner, once they make a joint disappear, usually it doesn't come back.
Oh, yeah. No, this dude always brought just smaller and smaller every time he came back around. You know what? I didn't see the headlines because I hit the Instagram Live, Benji. We do have headlines, and they're in the news for cannabis. We're going to go to our headlines. Benji has to read them to me again for the second week in a row because I have monopolized my phone.
Okay, so studies show that CBD's there's a study that's showing that CBD's potential role in treating brain injuries. Medical Marijuana Inc. and its subsidiary Hemp Meds have been participating in research that indicate that cannabidiol, or as CBD as most people know it, could be an effective treatment for Parkinson's disease and traumatic brain injuries. The main focus of the research is to see if CBD can reduce extracellular glutamate levels, which, when produced at high levels after an injury, can cause neuron death in the brain, a process known as excitotoxicity. The study's leader, Dr. Luisa Roca, said they were able to observe that the oral administration of cannabidiol during the 7 days prior to the injury helped avoid the over-release of glutamate that results from brain trauma, and also shown that the application of CBD helps sensory-motor development. And she says
why is it
treatments were sufficient.
Why is it, Benji? I don't want to cut off the whole thing, but why is it that they're only using CBD to test for stuff like this? Is it because of legality? Because, I mean, obviously with hundreds and hundreds of cannabinoids in a plant, you would think that they would try to use the other things if they're going after treating the medicine.
Well, my understanding is CBD has some regenerative properties that THC doesn't. I think they probably work well in conjunction with each other, but I remember hearing about studies years ago. They were saying CBD was good for healing bones, it's good for healing the brain, all kinds of stuff. So I think I don't think it hurts to focus on certain cannabinoids.
Yeah, I feel like they forget the other ones, though.
No, you can't. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And there's over 100 major and minor cannabinoids in the plant, so there's a lot of research we have to catch up on. I mean, we're 80 plus years behind because of prohibition, which went into effect in 1937. So we're coming up on its 100th year anniversary before too long. Less than 15 years now.
Wow, that's a long time. I wonder who the oldest stoner is right now. Is it like Willie Nelson?
He's up there, and as we know, he's having his 90th birthday party.
Ah, that means he was 10 years shy of prohibition. Wow. Happy birthday to Mr. Willie Nelson.
Makes it that far, you know. That's an accomplishment.
All right, I want to bring in our first guest.
All right.
It's going to be awesome. I want to wave to him. Wave him in. Our first guest on the show is from Jetty Extracts Rosin Technologies, which you can find them at Jetty Extracts on Instagram. Welcome to the show, Mr. Devlin Francis. Devlin, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, pretty good. How's it going?
Fantastic. Oh, wait, let me unmute your mic because then it works better. How's that sound?
Oh, how's it going?
There we go. How long have you been working with Jetty? Jetty, and I'll introduce you if you guys don't know. Jetty's been around almost since the beginning of Prohibition, like Mr. Willie Nelson. When I first started doing shows, Jetty was always there and just always seemed like they were kind of ahead of the game because it was always good marketing, good promotion. The brandings always looked like they were ready for the legalization way before this new legalization went around. Like you could take that same product back then and probably put it in a shop today and it would still hit all those standards.
Oh, yes, definitely. That's one of the key points for Jetty is our integrity, making sure that the product's been well tested. We usually test it 3 times before the public actually gets a hold of it. And it's just that way we know that we're giving out a good product, and then we make sure that it tastes good.
How long have you been with Jetty?
Just about 5 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the life. Am I getting a hand job? He's a tickler. Sorry about that. I did not expect a hand to come flying out of my crotch right now. Kind of throws you off. But I didn't say I didn't like it, so please continue, sir. So 5 years at Jetty. What's your favorite thing that Jetty makes? Because Jetty does a lot.
Well, right now it's definitely our solventless line. We're just starting to test some gummies, which have been really good, and I can't wait for that. We haven't done edibles much, so that's going to be a new thing that's going to be coming out later on this year, hopefully.
And you're a vapor? Is
Yes,
that what we call them?
I prefer that over flour, but we
How are you
have
with
solventless
edibles?
pre-rolls also.
Have you tried edibles?
Yes, I actually brought a sample that we're testing.
Research and development.
So-
Show the Instagram people. Oh, I could show everybody, actually. That's what it looks like right there. Yeah, they'll see it on Instagram.
Very nice.
While Paul runs.
So yeah, we're testing the different flavors right now. We've got the oil pretty much figured out, but
Oh, I got that.
you got to always make sure you have that good terpene taste that goes with it, because we want to make sure it's it's not
Didn't
artificial
they-
flavors.
Coop, didn't Jetty used to have was it the syringe? Was it the old push? It was the push pen?
Applicator.
Are they still doing it? Okay, so this,
Applicator.
the Dablicator. That's right. Is that what it's called?
I love that.
Can you, it's like a,
I'm just gonna
Harry
flip it
Potter
open.
box.
Yeah.
It's one of
and the
best
boxes are
inventions.
child-proof so that kids can't get into them. It's not meant to be
Carry a
an
knife
escape
with
room
you.
type.
Precise dosing.
Is that what they're? Yeah, I remember they used to have we would do like 30 seconds if you could hit back when cannabis was fun still in the olden days. Oh, this looks way different now. Can they see that yet on that side?
They can see it right in front of you now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have one of those.
But the Jetty Dablicator right there.
Yeah, I love that thing.
And then how do those? Whoops! I just dropped a bunch of weed.
Well, like for your joint here, we would just turn it a couple times so we get the plunger to come out. And then it's got marks on it so you can figure out the exact dose, and then we would tweak your joint there, and then you'd go ahead and smoke that.
And then what is the percentages, let's say for people who are just, I've never seen them concentrate before. I live in Ohio or whatever.
I believe this is 75%. So most of our solventless products are between 75 and 80% THC.
Which is like, let's say a joint would be to somebody about what?
Your normal flower is between 18 to 25%.
Oh, that's like 4 times almost the amount of THC in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's strong. That's strong. What's your favorite kind of like cannabis that because you're a rosin technician,
Mm-hmm.
a rosin technologist, and did you create that category of job field as?
Oh no, hash rosin has been around for centuries. Technically, it's especially the way we're doing it now, where we're just using ice water. We're doing it in the most purest form, no chemicals whatsoever. Yeah.
How did you get into this? You were just like, woke up and decided that
Well, I spent about 30 years
You think
in
that joint's
printing and
getting you
photography, and I would always be smoking. That was the one thing I always smoked at all my jobs. And one day I just decided, what am I actually putting in my body? So I went to Oaksterdam seminars,
oh yeah,
and I said, well,
which was like the top cannabis school in the country.
and I just thought, this might be a fun industry to get into. And I volunteered for 6 months doing lots of dab bars and lots of events with Jetty. It's funny how I was at several events before I was even hired there and knew most of the people there.
And you're like, I'm good at this.
So a friend that also worked at Jetty gave me a recommendation, and I started out as a packaging tech, and after almost 5 years, worked my way up into the lab room.
That place has always been so legit. Like even the way that because there was a lot of vendors in the gray market area before the proposition changed over, but it was always like corporate. Like it looked corporate. Like everything was very in its place and perfect and clean. Then you have the guy next door with the giant speakers and 3 OnlyFans, desperates trying.
Well, we have
Day
a
shift
bunch of
strippers.
San Diego surfers are our board members, so we're pretty relaxed.
That's where they based out of was San Diego, wasn't it?
The Jetty. is
That's
down
why
in
we
San
saw it, because
Diego.
that's where we based out of. So, Coop. Are you still there, Cooper?
He is.
I'm here.
We're just checking in on you, because now you're like you're in our circle now. We moved you, so now you're like a face. You're active.
Oh, awesome. Feel included.
He does all the testing, like not like the research and development testing for all the cannabis competitions, and you'll never see somebody who has like taken like a Jetty pen and just dissected it to its and it just if you smoke it with your left hand in the air and hopping on one foot, you'll feel a lightheaded.
The dream job.
So what's like the future for Jetty right now? Is edibles? Are they going national, or are they staying inside California?
No, that's the national. We're trying right now. We just started getting our products into New York.
Oh, wow.
We just had it was shocking to see something in downtown New York that had Jetty advertisement on it. So, and we're going to be in New Jersey and Colorado soon. So, yes, we're definitely getting out there.
So how much weed do you have to smoke for your job as a rosin technician?
Well, we are required to test each batch, but it's not a lot. But
Like, is vaping, you're a vapor, does that mean that you smoke out of the pen, or like the battery pens, in the cartridges,
Yes.
or do you dab?
Yeah, I will also dab, but that's more of a at-home type of thing.
Right, or you don't have to drive or be expected to stay awake.
Exactly.
How can somebody who's at home who doesn't have Jetty, how can they find it? How do they get a hold of it? How do they get it into their local spots?
Well, jettyextracts.com, we will deliver to your home.
Oh, wow.
So if you're in the East Bay, we will bring the product right to you. Just go directly to our website, and of course, there's other delivery
Is it
services.
you?
that
Do you
carry
come?
it.
Do you?
No.
Can I
that
request
was
you?
One of those jobs I haven't done yet.
Bring
I've
Devlin
done a
down. He's
lot
gonna need
there,
about 2
Jenny, but
hours. We're
not
gonna
the
do some
driving.
dabs. Just drive mine. We're just gonna smoke for a couple hours. It's gonna be great. Get you off the clock.
We'll get all our products to you: the solventless, live resin.
Do you have like somewhere where people can go if they have questions for you after the show, or like you have your own Instagram? We have the Jetty Extracts Instagram.
That, and there are also our Facebook. I believe we have a Twitter account. I don't have a Twitter account, so I can't verify that one. But jettyextracts.com also has a support page for any questions, any problems, anything like that, or just advice. We love to hear from the customers. We love to hear anything about any problems you may have with the equipment. because sometimes we don't actually make the equipment, so we need to know.
China. No.
We need to know if there's anything, because we want to make sure you get the best product, especially for the medical patients. We want to make sure that there's no problems with anything. And just for fun, nobody wants to have a bad cartridge out of a dispensary. So.
That's what that big balloon was. It was a Jetty Comments card they were sending over to the China production factory where they get the plastic.
Yes. Keep it safe.
Did you hear about the Chinese spy balloon?
Yes.
I don't think it was a spy balloon. What makes it a spy balloon? Does anybody know this?
Well, I'm pretty sure just like that would be the easiest for it to be undetected.
It didn't have like
no
a
metal.
camcorder or anything just hanging from the
something
rope?
very simple that, we wouldn't be able to detect with our normal radar that somehow got away for a while, but I guess we got it.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. And you usually don't see balloons float that far either, so. And that's the official Jetty opinion on the Chinese balloon. No. Well, thank you for coming in, Devlin. I appreciate you. If you want, I could maneuver you over to the couch, and then I'm going to bring you in here after I do a couple news headlines.
Okay.
But thank you. People can find you at Jetty Extracts.
Yes.
Check out your local dispensaries or call Jetty personally, and they will bring it to your house if you are located in the East Bay. I have smoked Jetty for years, and it is amazing. Like, it's a whole nother clean, super, super duper good. I'm struggling to remember the right words. It's a medicated feeling, but no, you can say you're getting stoned now. We could.
Yes.
The new law has changed, so you get
Laser beam eyes.
Yes, if you want laser beam eyes, make sure you get on the Jetty products, but call them personally because they will bring it to you. Not you, Benji, because you're too far. He's out. Wait, no, Benji's in San Diego area. They don't bring to San Diego?
Yes, we do.
Benji, I've got good news, sir. You can call Jetty, and they will bring you. They will deliver to you. So if you're in the San Diego area,
San Diego, LA area,
East Bay. Oh, you guys are taking over the entire state of California.
We're trying.
Well, make sure you check them out, Jetty Extracts. You see them at a lot of events too. So you guys are still going out and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Just starting up again. Thank God COVID started.
Yeah, no kidding. That really messed up all the events. Me and Benji would go out like almost weekly, and we were going all over the country and bebopping around. And as soon as COVID hit, now I don't even want him in the same room with me. It looks like he's got sniffles.
Yeah, I'm healthy.
Are you healthy? Have you had COVID yet? Did you get COVID? Who got COVID in here?
Yep.
You got it? How was it? Paul had it. I haven't got it.
It was like a cold for one day. It was just more of waiting for the.
Did you get all the shots and the nanobot?
Oh, yeah.
I got it too. I got it on the first round because I figured if I'm going to lie to somebody and tell them that I want them to take this, I'm going to make the first one work. Like, the first round is going to work because you're going to go and go, I got the shot, it worked fine. But everybody who comes after, they're the ones that are getting nanobots or laser beam eyes. Benji?
I don't know.
I didn't get any of the shots.
Really? You just raw dogged it?
Yeah. I got an immune system, dude.
But you had,
It works.
you had the COVID. It's gone, so now you don't need the shots.
Yeah.
Technically, we could harvest
It
Benji.
was. I mean, the worst part about it was the sore throat, but like it wasn't any worse than some of the other things I've gotten sick in my life. So, yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Oh,
It
wow.
has been for some other, but not for me.
I remember people were dying. Like, it was like 5 a day we were losing. Now, like, no, but you don't hear no COVID deaths anymore. But all injuries are COVID. You break your arm, it's COVID.
I'm not
COVID
convinced that
related.
all those were actually COVID deaths.
Right, yeah. Well, you heard
The
about
numbers were fudged.
nurses writing COVID on, for whatever it was to get bonuses, or it was all kinds of COVID conspiracies going on at the time. So I'm glad it's all
There was
better
a
now.
financial incentive.
That's true. Devlin, thank you again, sir. Devlin Francis, Jetty Extracts. I'll locate you over here, and at your convenience, you can hang out. We're gonna do some more news stuff. You can comment on news stories. What's going on in the news right now, Benji? I know you got another headline.
Yeah, well,
Like, not the new segment, but at the headlines at the beginning that I ditched out on after the first one.
We're just splitting them into two segments here.
Yeah.
So Snoop Dogg and San Diego-based Hempaco, that's hemp and tobacco into one word, they're both collaborating on some new products, which include hemp rolling papers, blunts, vapes, edibles, and other hemp products. The line will be produced at Hempaco's 50,000 square foot facility, which is certified by NSF, GMP, and the FDA. And Hempaco also has collaborations with others like Rick Ross, Cheech and Chong, and says their primary company goal, at least one of them, is to disrupt big tobacco one hemp cigarette at a time.
Hemp cigarettes taste like crap, though. And you know, I've been known to have an occasional cigarette every now and then when the mood calls for it. But the ones I've smoked a lot of hemp cigarettes, and I've yet to find one that can replace. And it's not even about the nicotine, but the flavor itself is just horrible.
I would think that they would be able to breed some good tasting hemp flower in this day and age.
It's like smoking grass.
Yeah, it shouldn't taste like that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I know there's a lot of CBD in hemp, and so some people have used that to try to wean themselves off cigarettes because, you know, CBD can be calming as a replacement to nicotine. Not the same thing, but has a similar effect. But yeah, if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to want to smoke it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I want to welcome our next guest, Benji Cooper, who's now, his head is here with us. So that's awesome. Mr. David, I gotta see, that's why I wrote it on the paper. David Goldman and Michael Cohen both work with the Brownie Mary Democratic Club out here in beautiful San Francisco, and also has some really fire cannabis because I got to smoke some, and that is a part of a lot of my problems today. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let me pop in your microphones so now we can hear you. That one's yours. That one's yours. Welcome to NugLife Radio. How you guys doing today?
We're doing well. Thank you for having us.
Tell us, what is the Brownie Mary Democratic Club?
We are a Democratic club fully chartered by the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee, and we work on cannabis policy. We named our club after Brownie Mary. Brownie Mary was a cannabis activist who gave marijuana brownies to the AIDS patients at Ward 86 at San Francisco General Hospital back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Are you not going to eat that? You look like you're nodding your head no. Why? There you go.
He'll eat it.
Thank you. And so she swore like a sailor, and she didn't take any guff from anyone, so we thought she'd be a perfect role model. Our club focuses on cannabis regulatory reform on the local level, the state level, and the federal level. And we also run a compassion program whereby we give away legal product to low-income folks who are medical cannabis patients, mostly people with HIV and cancer.
What is the, and just for the layman, what is the difference between a Democrat and a Republican?
Day and night.
Day and night. Today, Republicans have morphed into a seditionist, anti-gay, anti-immigrant, support the wealthy at the expense of the poor and the middle class party.
The Democrats are doing that. I thought that
that's
was
the
the Republicans.
Republicans.
Okay, yeah, okay. You said, I was like, okay, now everybody's
doing that. The Democrats are the party of the people. They represent ordinary people's interests. And we will work with anybody. We have even lobbied Republicans, but we are a Democratic club, and we mostly work with Democrats to help them understand how cannabis regulatory reform needs improvement.
And you.
Yes.
Isn't that gummy just the most delicious thing?
I'm enjoying it.
That's the Jetty gummy too.
Morsel.
Delicious.
So how long have you guys been on this mission with the Brownie Mary Democrat? I know this is the whole. Did you guys hang out at the Castro Castle, which is like third week in a row I've got to bring up this magical place?
Did when Dennis Perone was with us.
And Brownie Mary used to actually hang out there too, I believe. I heard stories when I went there. They would tell me stories.
We still go there occasionally because it's a fabulous museum for one thing.
Have you seen the mirrors on the ceiling?
And the mirrors on the ceiling.
And the psychedelic garden.
The second reason, and the psychedelic garden is
In
the
the
third
back.
good thing. Yeah.
Browning Mary Democratic Club was formed 10 years ago.
You just slipped right back into there, huh?
Yeah, 2013.
We were going to expand on the mirrors on the ceiling, but no, go on.
Yeah, 10 years ago we formed the Browning Mary Democratic Club to be a force within the Democratic Party for cannabis law reform, because there are a lot of issues with the way our current regulatory framework works, including too high taxes, not enough public places to consume cannabis.
The taxes are insane, the way they've done it. And only California gets that. You know, I know that Colorado's hitting it too, but California almost like 25% or more.
It's critical that we, at this point in time, declare a tax holiday for the cannabis industry, because without it, we are headed into a very bad place, a very dark place. So
what is a tax holiday? It's not just one day, right?
Well, I believe that we should use the monies from the surplus in Sacramento right now. We're sitting on hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of surplus money that we could use some of that, a small, maybe 1% of that money. 1% of that money would go a long way towards a tax holiday to do away with the taxes on cannabis. And if we can't do that, then we should perhaps go to Plan B, which is something similar to what Oregon has done. Oregon has done, for adult personal use, or for patients, cannabis, people who want to buy cannabis, adult use, they pay 17 to 20%. However, those people that are medical cannabis patients pay zero taxes in the state of Oregon. And what's happened is the amount of sale of cannabis to the public in Oregon has increased 1,500%. That's 1,500%.
Oh, wow.
So Oregon has found the sweet spot when it comes to taxing patients and yet allowing the greatest access to the greatest number of people out there.
They don't tax patients, they only tax adult consumers. And the 17 to 20%, depending on the county, works for adult consumers and medical cannabis patients who wouldn't pay taxes on prescription drugs like anyone else, don't pay taxes on cannabis.
Is anybody doing anything good with these taxes? Like, is there anything, because it's really like almost doubled the incomes of some of these states, but I haven't heard of any of the funds being pushed back out into anything.
Some of the money goes to cannabis research, and some of it goes to the general fund.
Which means if it goes into the general fund, that it can be used for any purpose at all, and that's not right.
Right.
I don't think that's right.
Well, you'd think they'd build schools or, something that's going to beautify the kids or the city they're in. What is the general fund? Is that just anybody can dip in? Is that like stash
general
cash?
Fund is where any money goes to any project in the state, assuming it's legislated. Here's how I see it. The cannabis industry in California that's legal, the legitimate industry, is dwarfed 2 to 4 times in size by the illicit market. The illicit market is 2 to 4 times the size, and that's a problem. And the reason is it's simple. The illicit market prices are cheaper than the legal market. We've worked too long and too hard to make it legal for us to give the illicit market an unfair playing advantage, because they don't test their medicine. And for me, I come out of the medical cannabis patient as an origin for myself. I want to make sure my medicine is free of mold, pesticide, fungus, bacteria, and I want to know the potency. I want to know what's in it. And the illicit market, it's not tested.
Well, how long have you been smoking weed?
Since 1969.
But when did everybody get, and I'm just being devil's advocate here, but when did everybody get so caught up into, I never knew what was in my weed. I don't care if it was smuggled in the butthole of a donkey, as long as it got to me and I got to smoke. But I'd never heard of anybody, nobody's died. Why is it so important to test?
Well, admittedly, when you burn cannabis, when you smoke it and combust it, you kill most of the nasties, but not all of them. But frankly, now that I can have cannabis without mold, powdery mildew.
Right. Once you know what's in there, you're done for.
I
Yeah.
don't want that in there.
Yeah, that's true.
And even if it wasn't technically making me die on the spot when I was smoking illicit stuff in the past, I am glad and gratified that my cannabis is safe and tested.
True.
And people that are using cannabis are the full spectrum of people. You get people 21, you get people 101 that are using it. But you want it for their protection.
You're like anti-microphone, aren't you?
You want to protect the consumer, the person that's using it, in the best possible way that you can do that. So I think testing also is important for any agricultural product, any herb. Cannabis is an herb.
Right.
As an agricultural product, I want to know that what I'm putting into my body does not have pesticides in it. It's as clean as it can possibly be.
Yeah, ignorance was nice when I was a child, not a child, but a younger smoker. Because, once you learn, you're like, pesticide, and you're like, I don't want to smoke that. And because you're right, you don't know what it's going to do to you in 50 years. You can end up with Alzheimer's because you've been smoking aluminum.
I don't want heavy metals.
And frankly, the quality I
It's
see in the
what I
legal
smoke.
market,
Yeah.
the quality I see in the legal market has dwarfed what I've seen in the illicit market.
Oh, yeah, the quality in the legal market is insane. You know what? The only thing I don't like about legalization is you don't have as many... we used to have a guy, James Hogg, in San Diego, who grew hog's breath. But you don't have those guys anymore that are growing out of their own little gardens, doing 100 plants and just manipulating the plant and evolving it into what we have now.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get regulatory reform so we can bring back the small boutique farmer who grew amazing stuff because he or she could spend a lot of time with each plant and make sure every day the plant got the best attention possible.
A lot of those small farmers were using landrace strains in California. And they developed some incredible products for all types of diseases and maladies. So we need to encourage that. We want that to continue to move forward, so that in the future, a number of disease and human sicknesses and illnesses we can use those landrace strains for.
And what is, I like to ask everybody, what is your favorite strain?
My personal favorite strain is OG Kush.
Nice.
And I find I like the flavor and the potency of most of the varietals of OG Kush I've had.
And what about you?
Well, we call our house the house of the OG Kush house.
Nice.
We've called it that for 20 years, close to 20 years. When we decided, when we retired from our other careers, we wanted to make a small difference we truly cared about. And we started smoking Kushes back then, and we discovered and learned through experience that OG Kushes were where we were at.
Yeah, you remember how bad weed used to be back in the day? Like, I mean, man, we used to get that brick, and I always wanted the corner piece, like, I want the corner piece just to play with it. So we have a meeting coming up.
Yes. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February 8th, and also Wednesday, March 8th. It's always the second Wednesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who can see this podcast is welcome to join us tomorrow, Wednesday, February 8th, 6 p.m. at 460 9th Street. That's 460 9th Street, across Harrison Street in San Francisco. We have some interesting guests speaking. We have Ellen Comp from California Normal. It's going to speak on legislation coming up in Sacramento. And in addition, of the San Francisco Cannabis Retailers Alliance will also speak on legislation. We also have Heidi Hanley, who's opening a new dispensary called Soulful at 900 Irving Street this Thursday, February 9th at 8:50 in the morning. They'll have their grand opening. Again, that's Soulful, Soulful, at 900 Irving Street in San Francisco this Thursday. And finally, our fourth speaker is Chef Layla, who's teaching a course on cooking with cannabis, and she'll be there to answer questions about her course and about cooking with cannabis in
It's like
general.
a whole event. That's more than just a little club meeting.
It's going to
or
be dynamite.
Yeah, that's a whole event.
Yeah, it's going to be dynamite.
So make sure you go out there. That's going to be on 460 9th Street. Harrison, or no, excuse me, 9th Street across Harrison. It's a cross street, out here in San Francisco. And how long is the
The
is it a
meeting is
day?
generally like, it's from 6 p.m. tomorrow through 8 p.m. And if folks can't come tomorrow, it's always the second Wednesday of the month. So if they can't come tomorrow for the February 8th meeting, there's the Wednesday, March 8th meeting, and so on. And
6
it's
p.m.
always at
to
that
question
same
mark,
address.
question mark, question mark.
Always 6 p.m.
Always 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And anyone 21 or older is welcome to attend. And we do have an outdoor area, so during our breaks, people are allowed to medicate.
Oh, so it's a party. It's like it's the Democratic Party. No. Now I get what they mean when they say that. No. Thank you guys very much for being on the show. Where can they find you? We have Instagrams, and they are at BMSF415. So if you have any questions, you want to know where the good parking is down there on 9th, you can hit them up on Instagram, or if you want to show support. What if they're not in this state? How can they support you?
They can go to our website at www.browniemarydemclub.com. That's Brownie Mary Dem, D-E-M, demclub.com.
Why aren't you guys running for like mayors or something? Sit, Amy. There's chairs. Come sit, man. Chill out. Hang with us. Amy Fisher also has a show coming up. She's going to be doing every week, I'm guessing, or I don't know any of the details, but it does exist, and she's going to have Ellen, I believe the same Ellen Kopp.
Ellen Kopp, yeah.
Ellen Kopp is going to be doing her news stuff or something to the effects of it. So tomorrow, if you're in San Francisco at 6 p.m., you're going to have a great time. You're going to learn how to cook cannabis. You're going to learn how to support cannabis. And you're going to learn how to live cannabis. And you're going to do it at the Brownie Mary's Democratic Club. Again, that's 6 p.m., 460 9th Street, right across from Harrison, San Francisco. Bam, that's it. Thank you guys for being on the show. You might as well just hang here. Where's Devlin? Is he still here? We got him?
Yeah, Devlin's here.
Down there?
He's on mic number 6.
Yeah, Devlin, you have a hot mic too.
Hey, you're on, Dev. Hey.
All right, now I'm taking everybody back off. All right, horribly
We
wrong.
lost him. If you ask him to come back, he might come back.
Where's he at?
I don't know. He's still connected.
Can you hear me? Coop, can you hear me?
Yeah,
You're on your
Oh, okay,
virtual
good.
camera, by the
kind
way.
of staticky.
All right, so can you do his news bumper?
He has his news visual for it, but we're not sure if we're going to get to that. But the other
It's-
thing is,
It's not working right now. We're gonna try it out next week.
no problem. And then Cooper,
We get the best glitches. You know we're still on the show. You want to text message him, or are you going to tell him something pertinent?
yeah, I was going to tell him to turn off his virtual camera.
Turn off your virtual camera, or whatever that is, because we can't see you. So I'll do your news.
Can't see
Do-do-do. Can't see you.
We see the Prism Live.
Prism Live. This is why we gotta have editing. If you're just, bam, there he is. You're sexy. If you're just tuning in, this is the NugLife Radio Show. Level of education for the cannabis counterculture community, and we are at the best time of our day. Do-do-do-do-do. I knew you love when I do-do-do-do. It's the NugLife News with Benji Cooper, aka with CannaGeek.com.
So cannabis consumption lounges may begin popping up in Missouri, and relatively soon if things go well. Missouri voters legalized cannabis in November by approving Constitutional Amendment 3, part of which allows local governments to decide whether to allow on-site consumption at cannabis businesses. Currently, St. Louis County leaders are considering a zoning rule that would allow on-site consumption at cannabis businesses in unincorporated areas. If county leaders give the go-ahead, this wouldn't be allowed within 1,000 feet of churches, schools, or child care centers, and would have to be at
Just
least
like Paul.
500 feet from other dispensaries and liquor stores. According to the Post-Dispatch, all 7 people at a planning commission in December voted in favor of the plan, but even if it's approved, finalization could take several weeks. You know, Mike, Missouri just had its first weekend of legal adult use sales, and they made around $8.6 million in sales, and they're already looking at consumption lounges. Now, we legalized cannabis in 2016 in California. Other states are just on the ball, and we are way behind.
And Missouri, I couldn't think of a better state that needs money like that. Hopefully they're doing something good with it. Not the brightest state out there. We just did a show at the Ozarks, and those people just crawled out of the swamp. So they definitely could use the funds. And again, hopefully they don't just throw it in the general fund that we learned about there. Any of you guys ever been to Missouri?
Not lately.
Yeah,
They made a
there's
good
a
amount
reason.
of tax money off of that. And actually, the adult use sales were quite a bit more than the medicinal use sales, because Missouri's had medicinal use for a little while. But in just the first weekend, the sales were already just almost double in some instances than what the medical was selling.
Yeah, they're not playing around in those poor states, man. That when they go, Missouri, I'll tell you, has been working hard for legalization of any kind. They were very late into the game, so they are catching up very fast. And again, those funds are much needed out there. That place is just forgotten. The laws are backwards. It's still bad judges and bad policing and. A lot of problems that you don't even think exist anymore are still very much alive in that state due to low population and low population IQ.
Well, and when these states like this, they wait for so long and they watch all these other states legalizing, they see how to and how not to do things. That's why I think they're just pumping right out with, big time legal sales, and then right away they're like, hey, we're going to put consumption lounges in St. Louis County. That should spread if this goes well.
Well, that's weird. That's like putting it through Georgia. What else you got in the news, sir?
Well, Mike, speaking of cannabis consumption lounges, a lot more of them may start to pop up here in California soon, too. Better late than never, I always say sometimes. Assemblymember Matt Haney introduced AB 374 on Monday, which would allow cannabis shops to serve food and drinks and host live events with live entertainment all across the state. While cannabis lounges do exist in California, oddly enough, under current state policy, they aren't allowed to sell non-infused products. Haney says lots of people want to enjoy legal cannabis in the company of others, and many want to do so while sipping coffee, eating a scone, or listening to music. There's absolutely no good reason from an economic, health, or safety standpoint that the state should make that illegal. If an authorized cannabis retail store wants to also sell a cup of coffee and a sandwich, we should allow cities to make that possible and stop holding back these small businesses. Haney says the cannabis lounges could help boost the state's cannabis industry, which he says is hurting from market oversaturation, high taxes, and a thriving black market. I don't know about you, Mike, but I am totally down with enjoying legal cannabis while sipping coffee, eating a scone, and listening to music. Hopefully all at the same time.
If they do consumption lounges and they're bringing those back, I'd hope they'd bring back or somehow connect those laws to the live events that we're going.
Yeah.
Like a
There's
temporary
place down here in
one-day
San Diego
consumption lounge permit, so I can...
I believe is going to open up with that. I believe the San Diego Cannabis Farmers Market has already had an event with them, or at least been involved. It's somewhere down near the airport, if I remember correctly.
Is that the one with the cars that we went to that had all the exotic cars and...
No, that was the 710. That was the awards festival 710 party for that competition. This is something completely different. It's someplace, like I said, down near Lindbergh Field, the airport down in San Diego.
Which reminds me,
they have on-site consumption.
February
San Diego is
25th.
looking to allow it.
February 25th is the San Diego Cannabis Farmers Market judging event.
I will be there.
And we will be smoking. I bet you Jenny will be out there too. Devlin, you might be in San Diego next week. What else you got? What else you got there, big boy?
All right. Well, it's no secret that the federal government takes issue with a citizen using cannabis and owning firearms. But one Oklahoma judge says that's a violation of a citizen's Second Amendment right to bear arms. On Friday, U.S. District Judge Patrick Wyrick issued a ruling in the United States v. Harrison case, saying the charges are not consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. The case involves an Oklahoma dispensary employee by the name of Jared Harrison, whom police pulled over last May after he failed to stop at a red light. After a search of Harrison's car, police found cannabis and a loaded revolver inside. Medical cannabis is legal in Oklahoma, but Harrison is not an authorized patient, and so he was charged with illegal possession of drugs and drug paraphernalia. He also received a felony indictment for having a firearm and cannabis, which carries a possible 15-year prison sentence. Now, the rule goes back to the Gun Control Act of 1968 and applies to all cannabis users in the United States. Judge Wyrick agreed with Harrison's lawyers, ruling that the man's cannabis use was not a constitutionally permissible means of disarming him. So in this instance, the federal government's argument absolutely didn't hold water because federal prosecutors had argued that the portion of the law that focused on drug users is, quote, consistent with long-standing historical tradition in America of disarming presumptively risky persons, namely felons, the mentally ill, and the intoxicated. And since Harrison was, I presume, not a felon or mentally ill, and so the cannabis was the only thing, there was no reason. We have alcohol in this country, and people get intoxicated on that all the time and own firearms. So it made no sense, and the judge threw it out.
I've been looking to get strapped for a long time now. Like, I'm ready. Because it's been a rule, if you grow cannabis of any kind, you're not allowed to have a firearm on your house. It's one way to de-arm the entire country, I'll tell you that. And I'm not one way. I don't like guns at all, but I don't care if you have a gun. If everybody else has a gun, I feel pretty safe.
That tends to be how that works. But they're saying that anybody that even uses it can't own a firearm. And I think that rule, since it goes back to the Gun Control Act of 1968, really needs to be revisited because the laws in this country have changed drastically. Back then, cannabis was legal nowhere in the United States. Now, it's legal in one form or another in well over half the states. So I think they need to look at that again. But I doubt that's going to happen until it's federally legal, which who knows when that's going to happen. They're holding out.
I think on a state-by-state case, like if I live in Brooklyn or San Francisco, I don't want everyone to have a gun. But if I live in, like, Texas, or somewhere where it's rural or I can't get help, then I'm going to have to strap up with a shotty.
Well, responsibility is a huge part of that, and I think there is a test you have to take, usually to get a firearm, but I think there should actually be actual training.
Yeah, that's not a real test. Are you guys anybody on a gun or
safety when I was growing up?
So I don't either.
All the rules.
But the test I've taken before is just not. It's not for the educated. Like it's a dummies test. Anybody can pass it.
Right. I think there needs to be a little more in-depth.
It's harder to get my driver's license.
Training for it. Yeah, so make sure you have a proper respect and know how to handle the thing, and you're not going to shoot yourself, shoot someone else.
Mental health issues come into play here, guys. I'm sorry.
Holy shit. Raise your hand.
Well, you guys are talking about guns. I grew up with guns my whole life. My father owned a gun shop, so I went to gun ranges and stuff when I was 2 or 3 years old starting up. So if you're a responsible person, yes, you should be allowed to have your firearm, your cannabis, and your alcohol.
So you just changed my whole opinion. Now knowing that you have a gun,
I grew up with them. I do not have a gun.
Okay, maybe a little bit of restriction. I'm just kidding.
I personally do not own a gun. I don't personally believe in you needing one unless you're really in fear for your safety. I know personally.
Well, that's supposed to be the reason you get one.
That's right. That's right. But
or keep them damn kids out of my crop.
So many mental issues going on, though, that people they need to have that going on when they do get a gun permit. It should be a restriction. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No crazy people get guns.
Yes. Self-protection is
nobody on antidepressants in the last 3 years.
Background checks.
Yes.
Before you purchase a firearm, there are background checks.
We're going to make a whole new, a gun. We should be the regulation team for the gun laws. We can, between the 6 of us, 7 of us, we can make this happen. We're just gonna need like a big declaration paper made on hemp. It's gotta be hemp paper. That's for sure.
Of course.
So we got that locked. All right, we're doing this. Paul, we need some blood. It's for the ink.
Hey, we can always use cannabis oil.
Sign right here.
I believe tincture.
Oh, you got anything else in your news?
Yeah, actually,
He's like, yeah.
Mint Cannabis will be holding a 3-day big game party this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in honor of the Super Bowl, which is happening in Glendale, Arizona. Mint's Cannabis Consumption Park will be near State Farm Stadium and will work kind of like a beer garden.
In Arizona, right?
Activities, food, live music, comedy, and appearances by former NFL players Kyle Turley and Jim McMahon, and there'll be cannabis vendors with free samples. Also, on 420, on Saturday at 420, they're looking to get into the Guinness Book for the world's largest smoke session, which will be followed by a live concert, of course. And they're looking for 10,000 people to join in on that sesh to make the records book.
I will be there, bro.
99th
Hey, you're
Avenue
leaving
and
Vegas Friday, aren't you?
Yep, I already have this booked. I'm going to be at the consumption park.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So you can be in the Book of World Records.
Yeah, I should. Are they going to list every single person? They have to, right?
Yes, I was at a similar event at a place called the Hippie Lounge out in Hemet, California.
I was there too.
Where we did the world's biggest dab. And we had to fill out a little piece of paper, and there was Guinness people there, and yeah, it was a very interesting experience. They had a bunch of these trays with
Were you there too?
shisha
No, I
cones,
thought you did the biggest dab with it.
and they just put all this, just tons. I can't remember how much of it. It was just a ton of just cannabis concentrates, and before the whole thing was over, you could not see inside of that place.
Yeah, it was
You
like
had
a
to
like a
put your
hot
face,
box.
nothing.
That was a good
It was pretty
time.
awesome.
I see. I miss the old events, man. You can't do that stuff anymore. You can't take 200 grams of concentrate, throw it in a dumpster, and set the bottom on fire, and just smoke out the whole room.
Treehouse was a great concept in LA, just not a great location.
Oh, man, that was fun.
After we were done, we walked outside and we heard a fire engine, and we saw one coming, and then it just passed us right by, and we're like, oh, we didn't set anything on fire that we didn't intend to.
No, the smoke probably wafted in their window, and they forgot why they were out there running their lights and just drove past you.
Just got a quick dab.
Yeah, right over to the Dunkin' Donuts. Anything else in our news, sir?
That is the Nug News.
There's the Nug News from your Nug Life correspondent, Mr. Benji Cooper. You can find him at Nug Life News on Instagram and on Facebook and Canna Geek News. I love that you have little prompts right there. At Nug Life News and at Canna Geek News. Make sure you check them out. You've read all this stuff. He's been writing for the Candid Chronicle. And what did you do? How many? Was it like 1,500 stories now published?
I did about 1,450. I was publishing 1,500. I've got already about 140 some odd on Canna Geek.
Are you still excited doing it? Is it still just as fun?
Well, I'm actually looking to move into more video content if I can hand off the writing to someone else at some point.
Yeah. No, never.
That's-
You were really, that is your.
Mikey's all your
Get back there and you can keep writing. We don't even give him a computer. You got to do it with a pencil, and it's a small nut. You got to use the whole pencil, so he's got to just nub it all the way down and keep writing the news.
Remember that in school.
I'm running out of brains to write with.
I bet you, like, now it just says all work and no play, make Benji something.
Something dark side, something.
Most likely to shoot up a hemp con. This is playing.
Hey, we'll get him the t-shirt gun.
We do want to thank everybody that came in today. We want to thank Mr. Devlin Francis from Jetty Extracts, the first rosin technician that I've ever met in my entire life. And I feel like now that I can aspire to be something I want to be. You know, I'm like, I didn't know that was a career option, or I would have started doing that back in the early 90s. We do want to thank Mr. David Goldman and Mr. Michael Cohen. And don't forget, Brownie Mary Democratic Club tomorrow, 6 p.m., 460 9th Street, right across from Harrison. And it's in San Francisco at 6 p.m., and that is tomorrow. And if you can't make it tomorrow, you can always make it next month on March 8th. And you can learn to cook there. They've got like a whole event disguised. It's just an escape, isn't it? It's one of those, like the Buffalo Club from remember the Flintstones?
Yes.
And he would have the club meetings.
And if you don't agonize, organize.
Something for everyone.
In unity, there's strength.
Yes, very true.
Come join us.
So come out there, be a part of something, and BYOW, bring your own weed, please. And you can do everything fun that is legal to do there, and you're going to learn to cook with cannabis, which is a life skill that you could take on. You could take that into the future and show other people. Thank you, Miss Amy Fisher. I'm just smacking stuff over here. Thank you, Miss Amy Fisher. Paul Brumbaugh. Again, Paul, you are our lifeblood. Paul's Did you forget your computer? What happened?
No, so as soon as we went live, and I'll tell you right now, it's fucking Discord. So
first F word on the show, right? The last minute.
Wasn't me.
All my systems started lagging, and so my computer locked me out, and that's why I came over and gave you the quick hand.
Yeah, it was a hand just shot up out of the bottom there. I was like, what the there's a lot going on.
Come on, guys.
Just spit on it next time or something. What else? Champs. Don't forget Champs, February 8th through the 12th. I'll be out there for a couple of those days. Don't forget the after parties. They're going to be awesome. And the casino, the Artisan, is now a weed casino, or going to be a weed casino or something. They're also flipping. And thank you, everybody. And we can be done with this. Coop, thank you once again, sir. Appreciate you. You can follow me, Medicinal Mike, on Instagram. We have the NugLife Radio Show on Instagram somewhere. You know, all the crap that gets the millennials in. All right. And tune into TikTok, where you will see Amy Fisher doing that Savage Love Dance. Great. Thank you guys for watching and spending your time with us. We do appreciate you. And again, I hope to see you guys in Vegas, or you can go down tomorrow. Again, that's 460 9th Street at 6 p.m. and support Brownie Mary's Democratic Club event. Right? Bring your own weed. Thanks for watching NugLife Radio, Edge Studios Online. If you're watching us, or wherever else we're pushing this out to. Killer. Is it done? Evening Mics.